You know, I'm asked most of the time what I mean by woke, and it's usually by people who, if you don't give them the full rundown and the full definition of what the word means, it just doesn't exist. And I'm like, this is a word that was started from the ground up. It started from the roots. Like when you say the word woke, you know, the bus driver, the truck driver, the mailman, like they know what you mean. At least nowadays, it's like because everything needs to be political. Like it's not like people are like divided from the entertainment and the situations that are happening, right? The political situations. Like people still know. Like even if you don't, if you're just a normie that chills on the sideline. I mean, when you hear the word woke, like certain ideas come to your head, and then when you see the thing, you're like, okay, I can see it. Like the Dead Space remake when they added the transgender bathrooms, and it's like people are like, "Oh, that's woke, that's woke." And I'm like, at first I was like, "Well, you're kind of overstepping here." But then I got to think of it, and again, it's not the only thing that was in the remake, right? They had a black disabled doctor, which, okay, I guess there's certain things that can be said about that universe that literally anybody is used and anybody's, you know, effectively exploited. But it wasn't in the original game. So why add it? Like, why add the transgender imagery? Why not just not have the picture there? And I mean, it's a good game. People think it's a good game. I mean, if it's a good game and woke, that's fine. They added things in there that just didn't add to anything. It's just little things that grate in the back of your head, and people are like, oh, but why do you care? It's like, well, I care because they care. They believe, and by they I mean the multi-billion-dollar entertainment corporations that hire people based off nepotism, based off ideology, based off immutable characteristics that don't add to the productive value of the product. They hire these people and they believe that they can do better than what came before. They can take what has come before, what has sold before, and they can add little things in there that don't add anything to the story, don't change anything. Like it's things that are deliberately placed there to have people like me point it out. But then when you point it out, it's why do you care? It's like, well, I care because you care, forehead. It's like they train you to think this way. They train you to think, and then when people point it out, like, well, why are you doing this? They're like, surprise Pikachu face. But it got me wondering, right? And Lucy's like, oh, you hell yeah, brother. Like, she's so hyped right now. And it got me thinking, when did this start? Right? Because again, the problem is not entirely the wokeness, quote unquote. The problem is, again, everything's a remake, a remaster, a prequel, a sequel. No new IPs are sprouting out. And because of this, people are moving away from the original. Again, IPs are just dropping like flies. Like, I don't know a single person that will ever be hyped for Star Wars anymore, which is sad. I don't know a single person that's hyped for Lord of the Rings. And again, beforehand, these things actually sold. They actually made money based off the name alone. Like people went out of their way to see the seventh episode of Star Wars because usually the success of the current product is predicated off the success of the previous one. So if the previous product is successful, then you know the product now is going to be successful. The problem is The products now they come out with are not. So then anything that comes after that is just flat out not going to sell or not going to sell as much as the previous one. And I'm like, okay, where has it started? I generally believe that Mass Effect Andromeda was at least the game that fully encapsulates what I mean. So it's a sequel. So after the Mass Effect trilogy, which was universally regarded as a masterpiece, like I have my whole list of concessions for 3, and people say the ending was bad, but I said, well, the whole game was inconsistent. But again, it's memorable. It's something that sits in your mind. It was still a good game, like mechanically, despite rehashing problems that you fixed in the previous one. And again, people disregard everything else. The only problem was the ending. But then Andromeda came out, which was aimless. And I guess people bought it because the previous stuff and out of curiosity. But again, you had this Asari woman. Like, I don't know why they chose to hit this Asari woman with the ugly stick. Like, the entire lore of the Asari is that they are pretty much look beautiful in every way, shape, and form. And the reason they look like this, at least they look like this to us, is because they always take the form of what you think is the most beautiful. So, like, humans see this, like, say, like, this guy would see a blue version of this. Uh, what the fuck ever this is supposed to be would be the blue version of this. And so, even from a lore perspective, it makes absolutely no sense why she'd be this ugly. Like, and people are like, oh, well, it's just her character. And it's like, well, again, we're not talking aesthetics. We're talking, like, they're pretty much magic. Like, they can't help but to look this beautiful. This is forces out of your control. And out of their control and out of your control that they look this beautiful. So why? Like, again, it just doesn't make sense from a lore perspective, but they felt the need to make this character look ugly. And I guess this is a charitable picture. God damn it, I hate when it doesn't do that. But then there's other, like why does she look this way? I mean, there's the cheap customization, and obviously there's other characters that for some reason look. This was the actress who mocapped for this character, right? This is the character itself. So again, it gets your brain, your noggin jogging, right? Why would they put in effort to make a character look deliberately ugly? Like, what type of? And again, this is the charitable picture of the character. Like, watch when they move their fucking face. And again, you get the "Why do you care" brigade, and again, it's fiction. There's no reason why you should make these changes or put effort. And again, this is just a couple pieces of the entire game that, again, I didn't even care to play. But for most of the people that have played it, and well, I watched like a video game of like a walkthrough video with no comment, and pretty much watched it like a movie. I was like, well, this just didn't need to exist. Like, I don't know. Again, I don't know what a Mass Effect after the trilogy would look like, because it's the end game. It's the Marvel Endgame situation, right? You have this grand finale built up, and people watch the movies up until that point. But after Endgame, people just fall off, and again, you can see the fall off in the movies. They're aimless. Like, I'm gonna watch that Madam Web movie, not expecting much, right, and just dissing it. But that's just that encapsulates what I'm trying to say. But that's Marvel. That's a whole nother can of worms. This game, they make deliberate decisions and artistic decisions that just don't make any sense. Like there's no, yeah, see, what the fuck type of look is this? And I guess mechanically the game function, but again, they did like this is okay. Like Mass Effect 3, what they did, except when they nerfed the ass in the remake, is like, ah, yes, I see what you're doing. Again, it's decisions that simply just didn't need to be made whatsoever. Like, again, they train you to care about these things, but then when they make these changes, when they remake things and change the original because they believe they believe they can do better than what came before. And again, we're talking fans, right? People who will flip shit if the voice actor of an animated character change, or people who flip shit if Goku's goofy looking hair just change just a little bit. Like if they were to change the color of his hair, people would flip the fuck out. So they're deliberately making these changes knowing people are going to flip shit. And again, the problem isn't people flipping shit. The problem is people are just not buying these, well, at least in Western entertainment, people are just not buying the product. Like people are moving away. And the question then becomes, how many people does like Marvel need to fire? I think BioWare even went through its like firings. Like it fired people that worked on Dragon Age 2. Like people who've been there for 20 plus years. And then Disney's gone through fire. Like firings is not the make of a healthy company or a healthy work environment, right? And again, I don't think I need to. I don't think I need an economist to write this out for me. I don't need to be in the company to know that if entertainment companies, the thing where the product is entertainment, is firing people, then that's proof that maybe the company isn't doing that good. Maybe the industry's not that hell. Maybe the industry's just unsustainable. Right? Where's Eddie? Eddie's my waifu. Like, where the fuck is Eddie? And yeah, but whatever. And again, I guess the game practically just looked and played like Mass Effect, only a lot more aimless. I guess there was a outpost type deal that nobody in the right mind fucked with. But again, after the trilogy, people just dropped off of Mass Effect, and I don't think they're ever going to make a new one. What is? I don't even know what BioWare is making nowadays. Hold up, because now I'm curious. What did BioWare make currently? Bio. And again, these are companies that were. Did I spell that right? I can't see. I'm blind. Yeah, they're known for the Mass Effect and the Dragon Age. What is this? Oh, that's just them showcasing their games. Anthem, which was slop. And again, I'm biased. I wanted to like Anthem. I guess Star Wars: The Old Republic is, I guess, still making them money. Then again, they made money off the remake, but I don't really know what are they making a new Dragon Age? Because I heard that was in the work. A newer Dragon Age. Not that I'll ever play it. Knights of the Old Republic, which was the GOAT. Again, Knights of the Old Republic 2 was unfinished, but I still liked it. And obviously mods finished that game. But again, I just don't know what games are coming out for BioWare. Again, I'm looking on the front page, and all it is people shitting on BioWare and bad things happening to BioWare. Ex Mass Effect devs ambitious new survival game, but what? Hey. Oh well, it's ex BioWare devs. Usually, games like these end up being successful. Oh my god, why is the ad half the fucking screen? Oh, there we go. Like, by ex developers end up being successful because people, again, out of curiosity. But again, now people are more interested in roasting BioWare and these companies and actually buying the product, which again, I guess it's getting eyes on the company, right? Because you see this with most like cinema entertainment. They make decisions that they know is going to piss people off, going to piss off their consumer, but they have the IRL Western streamer in Japan mindset that, oh, if you get eyes, if it gets clicks, then it's a good thing, and that's why they hire actors and actresses that are like antagonistic towards the consumers. And again, I believe this is 100% a market tactic, right? I don't think the actor or actors, like most actors and actresses, just take the money and shut the fuck up. But I'm pretty sure they are either paid or bribed by the company to be like, make this statement, like get more eyes on us, and that's just what they do. And again, it begs the question, like, okay, you might like if you know you're going to get the clicks, but the people are going to turn away, like, why do you think that's a net positive? Like, I get it. You're getting ESG money, you're getting investor money, you're getting all that, and you genuinely believe in your heart of hearts that that's sustainable. But you can get both the ESG and the consumer money, right? And what's that new Lord of the Rings bullshit that came out? Uh, Rings of Power. Like, Lord of the Ring has an entire continent of, I guess, melanated people that's just barely been broached upon in the movies, right? And I feel like a Lord of the Rings in that aspect, talking about in that region, would be interesting, but they would rather pick the lazy route, the route that they know is going to piss people off. They change the genome of the character, turn that man into a woman and turn her gay, right? They change the pedigree of already established characters, and people get pissed off and they're like, racist, sexist. It's like, brother, you can put in effort and talk about the continent of melanated people that exists in the lore, but you choose the lazy route. And again, people's ideology forces them to defend this laziness, but unfortunately for them, I don't subscribe to that ideology. I'd subscribe to companies putting out a fucking product that people want to actually consume. But again, back to Mass Effect, right? There's absolutely, like, again, these changes they do, they don't add to the games. If anything, they take away, right? You know, the Asari looking ugly, it doesn't change anything, but I mean, from a lore perspective, it makes sense. And it's like nails on the chalkboard only for your retina when you see her. And you have, and her personality is ha ha, funny, funny, meme. It's like, it's okay if you have a couple characters, like one character like that, but, most people in that situation would be serious. And again, also about Andromeda, the overarching villain race is not really evil. They're just misunderstood. And I'm like, that's also the trope that started. And back then, that they stopped making like factions and races evil. Now they make ideas evil. They make ideologies evil, but they can't really define like what the ideologies are. It's big company bad, racism bad. It's like these are overarching ideas, but do these really, but if told right, they can make for a good story. But if the villain's that nebulous, right? It's like, okay, so who's the villain? Again, that's what people want to know, right? People want to know who's the villain, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who do I want to beat up? But again, a friend made this observation: games just aren't for gamers anymore. I guess they're for ESG investors, and I guess like they have to shit out a product. But it's like if the product is going to be overwhelmingly shit, like, what's the point? And I get the argument it's to defend their IP. It's like, well, then they can just make a keychain, right? I mean, the toys absolutely are not selling. Again, that's a sign. That's a sign of a healthy IP. If the toys are flying off the goddamn shelves, if they're not, then that means the IP is universally ass. I mean, you might get a couple of, normies, and that's fine, I suppose. But fans are like walking advertisement, right? If a fan loves a product, they tell it, they wear the merch, they buy the merchandise, they literally rep that company for lack of better term. Or lack of better term. I think I had a better term there. But, people who just disassociate from the IP, disassociate from the franchise, and move to like anime, right? Like losing those people adversely loses you, again, free publicity, free money. People who go out of their way to buy the products other than the original product, like the movies, right? And there's this saying that I have. It's like a satisfied fan or a satisfied customer might tell one person about your product, but a dissatisfied customer will tell 10, 20, 30 people not to buy your product. And I think that's the situation here, right? Because there's people like me who's in the trenches with 5 inches with this shit. But I see that even normies are turning away. Even people that work the 9 to 5 and don't really care about these things, they're even turning away from the product. So it begs the question, if these people are turning away, it absolutely isn't sustainable. It isn't a sustainable marketing tactic. But anyway, I mean, I've dragged this video on for too long. See ya.